Spring came slowly to the town of Millhaven. Snow melted in gray patches across the yards, the streets filled with the smell of wet soil and thawing grass. After months of silence, the town started to sound alive again. Birds, dripping water, children playing outside. But one house heard something else, something that didn't belong to spring. Daniel Mercer lived alone at the edge of Millhaven. His small wooden house stood near a thin line of trees behind an old fence. Nothing unusual had ever happened there, not until the snow began to melt. The first time he heard the voice, it was early morning, around 6 a.m. Daniel was making coffee when he heard it through the kitchen window, a child laughing. At first, he smiled. The neighbors' kids sometimes played outside once the weather warmed up. But the laugh sounded wrong, too close, like it was coming from his own yard. Daniel walked to the window. The yard was empty, just wet grass and melting snow. No children, no footprints, nothing. The laugh stopped. He shrugged and went back to his coffee. But the next day, it happened again. This time, the voice spoke. "Hello?" Daniel froze. The voice was small, definitely a child, but there was something strange about it. It sounded muffled, like it was coming through a wall or through dirt. Daniel stepped outside onto the porch. Cold air brushed his face. "Hello?" he called back. No answer. He walked across the yard slowly. The ground was soft with melting frost. His boots sank slightly into the mud. Is someone there? Silence, just wind in the trees. Then, a giggle, right behind him. Daniel turned quickly. Nothing. His heart began beating faster. The yard was empty again. That night, he installed a camera, just a small security camera facing the backyard. He told himself it was probably kids playing a prank, but something about the voice bothered him. It sounded too trapped, like it wasn't free to move. The third day was the worst. It happened at night. Daniel woke up around 2:30 a.m. At first, he didn't know why. Then he heard it, the child's voice again, right outside his bedroom window. Soft, almost sleepy. "Can you hear me?" Daniel slowly sat up in bed. His throat felt dry. "Who's there?" he said toward the window. The voice giggled again. Then it whispered something strange. "I can't get out." Daniel stood up and walked to the window. The yard was dark. Only moonlight touched the melting snow, but the voice continued. "I'm under you." Daniel felt a chill crawl across his skin. Under you? Under what? The house? The yard? He stepped back from the window, and the voice stopped immediately, like it knew he had moved. The next morning, he checked the camera footage. At first, everything looked normal. Empty yard, melting snow, wind moving the fence slightly. But at 2:31 a.m., the audio picked up something up. The voice. Clear, closer than it had ever sounded. "Can you hear me?" Daniel leaned closer to the screen. Then something even stranger happened. The audio waveform spiked again, but the camera's microphone direction indicator showed something impossible. The sound wasn't coming from above ground. It was coming from below, from the soil, directly beneath the yard. Daniel replayed the clip 3 times. Every time the same result appeared. The child's voice was coming from underground. For the rest of the day, Daniel tried to ignore it. He told himself the microphone must be malfunctioning. Maybe the sound was echoing through pipes. Maybe the neighbor's basement carried the sound. Maybe... That evening, the voice returned, right outside his back door. soft, patient. "Are you there?" Daniel opened the door slowly. The air smelled like wet dirt. The voice continued, "I'm cold." Daniel stepped into the yard. "Where are you?" he asked. There was a long pause. Then the voice answered, "Right here." Daniel looked down. The ground beneath his feet felt soft. The snow there had melted faster than the rest of the yard, almost like heat had come from below. His stomach tightened. "Under here?" he asked quietly. The voice giggled again. "Yes." Daniel didn't sleep that night. He kept replaying the camera footage, listening to the voice, trying to understand. But one detail disturbed him more than anything else. The voice didn't sound scared. It sounded playful, like it enjoyed being hidden. The next morning, Daniel went to the garage. He grabbed a shovel, just to check, that's what he told himself, just to check the ground. The yard was quiet. Clouds drifted slowly across the pale spring sky. Daniel walked to the spot where the voice had spoken. The soil was darker there, wet, loose. He pushed the shovel into the ground, clink of metal. The first scoop of dirt came up easily, then the second, then the third. Daniel's breathing grew heavier. Each shovel of soil revealed darker earth beneath. The smell of damp ground filled the air. Then the child's voice returned, but now it sounded excited. "You found me." Daniel froze. The voice was clearer now, closer, just beneath the surface. He lifted the shovel again, but before it touched the ground, another voice appeared. A different voice, lower, older, a whisper. So quiet it almost blended with the wind. "Don't let him hear you digging." Daniel's blood turned cold. He slowly looked around the empty yard. Nobody was there, but the voices continued. The child whispered back, "Okay." Then silence. Daniel stood perfectly still. The shovel slipped slightly in his hands. His heart pounded. "Who said that?" he whispered. No answer. The ground beneath him remained silent. For almost 30 seconds, then the child's voice returned, but this time it sounded different, careful, quiet. "Please, keep digging." Daniel felt something crawling through his chest, a terrible realization. There wasn't just one voice underground, there were two. One wanted him to dig, and the other didn't want to be heard. That night, Daniel checked the camera again. The yard looked normal, nothing moved, but the microphone had recorded something new. Between 3 and 4 a.m., the ground itself had been making noise, soft scraping sounds, like something moving through dirt, slow, patient, circling beneath the yard. And once, very clearly, two voices whispering together, the child and the other one, the older voice. But the microphone caught only one full sentence, the sentence that made Daniel turn off the recording immediately. The child asked quietly, "Is he digging again?" And the older voice answered, "Not yet. Wait until spring softens the ground more."